2021, 9:00 a.m. hybrid meeting, accessible in person or via Zoom. And we have at this point, our Commissioner Russo is Zooming today. Work session agenda. The jail con corrections officer of the year will be moved to the bottom. There is a number 6 that needed to be added, and it's a Roscommon Transit Authority board appointment from Steve Du Bois. We were notified of that yesterday. Jody emailed me, asked if we could put that on the work session. I said okay and emailed her back, and so that will be number 6, but consequently, jail con is going to be after that, so they'll be last. All right, so first up is going to be Northern Lakes Community Health Authority presentation. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
There you go.
There we go. I did it right. Yay.
Hey, David, can you hear Joni?
Can you hear us?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for having us this morning. My name is Joni Flamer. I'm the interim CEO for Northern Lakes Community Mental Health. With me today is Jessica Whetstone. She is one of our mental health clinicians, and she's going to probably have the most important part of the presentation today. She is going to share the lived experience, and that demonstrates the outcome of our partnership together. So I'm looking forward to you all hearing about that. But before we get to that, I just want to share some information with you. We're here to talk about our annual report for 2020. You have had the packet, so I won't read everything, but I do want to highlight some things. But first, I'll tell you that Northern Lakes has several lines of business that we operate. So we have our mental health services. We also have an integrated healthcare clinic that provides primary care services in Grand Traverse County and Crawford County. Some of the Roscommon County residents do travel to Crawford County to receive care from that program. We also provide our OBRA services, which is related to the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1987, which focuses on making sure that people who are going into a nursing home are doing so because of their medical needs and not because of a mental health or intellectual developmentally disabled condition. We also provide a home and community-based waiver program in Northern Healthcare Management, and that does serve Roscommon County as well. But today I really want to focus on the Medicaid dollars because it's the local match that you provide us that allows us to draw down the Medicaid funding and thereby provide the services. So in your packet, you will find a grid. The very first page looks like this that has an overview of all of our services in all counties. And you can tell on this that what I would like to highlight is that we did $61 million worth of Medicaid services in our 6 counties. And that totaled about 1.7 million care transactions or activities such as case management, crisis services, and outpatient therapy. I'm going to focus on Missaukee County today primarily, so you could see that we provided 450 adults with mental illness services in Roscommon County. Seriously emotionally disturbed children and families, we served 110. We served 30 IDD kids and 96 IDD adults. On the second page, you'll find an overview of the Missaukee County in a grid and a pie format. So this is a good overview quickly for us to see what does services look like, what happens. You can see in the blue colored, the largest cost of money that we have is for residential and community living supports. And you can see that in Roscommon County, that was at about $4.3 million. We also provided services of $3 million for those adults that we served. 1.2 million went for children and family services for a total of 8.5 million that we provided services for your constituents living in Roscommon County. So then on the next page, you can see similarly, again, this is all counties, grid and pie chart. By and far, similar to what you guys experience, by and far, our largest cost is the residential and community living supports. Now, these individuals who receive this care often need more than 20 hours of care a day. So if they didn't have our services, they would likely be living in an institution and need to receive care institutionally based. So their quality of life is greatly improved by our partnership and being able to provide community living supports to them in a independent or maybe like a specialized residential home. We also bear the cost of the inpatient, psychiatric inpatient, which is 9% across the board. So we have been doing a lot of great work. You're gonna be able to see that work in our annual report that we provided in your packets. And I'll just highlight a few things in here. If you look at page 4, we had an extraordinary year, and despite COVID, we have done a lot of innovative things with our services and our activities. We did work with Munson Healthcare, North Country Community Mental Health, and McLaren Hospital to look at services across the spectrum in our 6 counties. So it's really a regional focus on how do we create crisis opportunities or treatment to provide people in crisis in hopes that they don't need more intensive services such as inpatient and or they don't end up in the county jails. We believe that if we improve and enhance the services in this area, then we can help the counties the most. This is step 1. So we received the report. It talks about some options that we have, and now we're beginning the work regionally to say where would we locate them, what does that look like. So for example, for those who aren't aware, crisis services could include an assessment all the way to inpatient, and then in between there's crisis stabilization units, possibly psychiatric urgent cares, things that we can look at. We've also created a multi-interdisciplinary team within our group to help with children and families. So that's where our psychiatrists and treatment teams are meeting with the families and the child being served so that they can try and look at what's going on and what are we doing, what can we do differently to help that family. And we also focused our grant dollars this year on justice diversion across the lifespan. So in Roscommon County, we have been successful in creating positions to help people, children and families, not ever step foot in a court if they're willing to get treatment. We have to work closely with prosecutor offices for that. And we also are working on pre-jail diversion, which Roscommon County, your undersheriff, has been phenomenal. And I really appreciate the work that he has done. I was hoping that he would be here today and hear that. So I know that he's not, so I would appreciate it if every one of you would thank him for us. He has been instrumental in looking at our iPads and getting that out to individuals. I understand from him in a letter that he wrote to our agency that we have been successful in diverting people from jail using that program. So it's the buy-in, if you will, that we receive from Roscommon County is just phenomenal. So we really appreciate that. Jessica here with me today is our mental health specialist for that program. So she will be working closely with your county folks to help people in the treatment. So she's not necessarily the first person on the scene, but she's the person afterwards that's following up with treatment instead of that person going to jail or needing more intensive services. We've been really busy with things like that. We also did, I want to let you know, we did provide stability network or stability payments to ROC. They asked for that. The state allowed us to provide stability payments to any organization that was negatively impacted by COVID. So rather than close their doors or reduce their services, we provided payments. So in Northern Lakes last year, we did $405,000 for providers that needed assistance. So those are some of the good things that we've done along the way. We also wanted to highlight for you, I believe it's on page 10, the services that we have open to the community. We do have several. You know, sometimes people say, well, Northern Lakes, you can only service so many people. You all know that that's true. The mental health code does limit us to serving the severely mentally ill, the seriously emotionally disturbed, and IDD. But we do have some opportunities to provide services to everyone in our counties, and that is through our integrated care clinic. Right now we have those operations in Crawford County and Grand Traverse, but anyone can go there and get served, and we do serve people in other counties. We also have our My Strength app. That's for everyone. You probably have seen some billboards around. We have a code that you can use. It's free. It's free to anyone that's 13 and older can utilize this app. I've used this app with my family and friends, so it's a really good tool for people. We also have a drop-in center here in Roscommon County. We have our New Connections, New Beginnings, if you're familiar with those. So if not, I would encourage you to reach out and learn about those. I'm happy to make a connection. And then we also want to highlight, and I talked with some of you about this morning before we started our presentation, and I'd like to highlight that we do all of this work with a very low overhead rate. Our staff work really hard with some very complex situations, and I'm happy to report that the work that they do and the work that our administration does, our overhead rate is 6.6%. So we keep that in the forefront of our minds at all times. And we also know that being good stewards of the dollar is important. That's why we focus on that. But we also want to reinvest in our communities. So on the last page of your, well, page 15, not technically the last page, page 15 on the bottom of your report, we highlight the economic activity that we have. So in Northern Michigan, we have had $146 million worth of economic activity. And we do that because we believe that it's important to reinvest in our economies. 73.7 million of that is to our directly employed workforce. And then 72.4 of that is indirect to other people. So these are employees that we hire that are paying property taxes and income taxes. And they also are buying local goods and services. So we're really proud of that. And we want to highlight that not only with the dollars that you give us do we provide good services, but we also keep the economy, the local economies at the forefront. So I'm going to turn it over to Jess. But before I do that, please fill out your survey if you haven't done so. There's a paper copy in your packet. There's also a link to a SurveyMonkey if you prefer to do it online. But we do utilize those surveys to direct our activities throughout the year. That's how we get our input from you. So please fill those out. And I'll let Jess share. Ashley couldn't be with us today. She was ill at the last minute, and so she asked Jess to come and share her story.
Like Joni said, my name is Jessica, and I get the pleasure of working with Ashley. She's one of the peers that works with me, so I'm going to read this for her. Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley, and I'm a peer support specialist at Northern Lakes Community Mental Health. I took this position in July of this year. I would like to tell you a little bit more about myself and how I ended up in front of you today. It wasn't an easy road to take, but it wasn't always that way. My childhood was basically trauma-free. I grew up watching my own mother struggle with her own mental health issues, which she remedied with medication and therapy. I lived in a two-parent household where I was loved and provided for very well. I went to a good school, and I had lots of friends. One of those friends had a mother who often went away for the weekend, leaving us with a handful of pain pills on the table with a little note saying, "Have a fun weekend, girls." This regular weekend use started at the age of 12, brought me to a place where I felt confident and rid of all anxiety. I could finally speak and not feel like others were judging every word that I would say as stupid. All through high school, I spent my weekends using whatever I could get my hands on, and my parents had no idea. Before I dropped out of high school, halfway through my senior year, I was able to get my nursing assistant license at the Career Tech Center. I moved in with the friend I mentioned earlier so that I could do whatever I wanted. With my parents no longer able to advise me who to date, I started spending time with guys who were nothing but trouble. Eventually, I met the father of my kids, and he was kind and considerate and appeared to be different from the other guys I had been spending time with. After being together 4 short months, I found myself pregnant with my daughter. Our relationship quickly changed. I suddenly found myself the victim of mental, physical, and sexual abuse. I was isolated from family and friends. I worked at a local nursing home. I was off all drugs. I wanted nothing but the best for my unborn child. I gave birth to my daughter and quickly cycled back into using pain medication on the weekend. And then a year and a half later, I was pregnant again and quit using once more. But after having my son, I began using every day. I justified it by saying that being a nursing assistant was hard on my body, and I deserved pain medication. Eventually, I discovered Adderall, which only fueled my do-it-all mentality. I was now able to get more done and experience no pain while doing it. When my kids were old enough to speak and fend for themselves, I left the abusive relationship with their father. I will give him credit for being a good dad. I moved back in with my parents and had 50-50 shared custody with my ex. I was now back in my hometown and connected with some friends from high school. I was introduced to heroin and meth. I lost my job at the nursing home where I had been employed for 10 years for calling in sick too many times. When the heroin ran out, I found myself extremely ill with withdrawal on a regular basis. It was hard to maintain employment, but I did manage to find a job. On the weeks that I had my kids, I would work at an assisted living facility, and the weeks that I did not have my kids, I worked at the assisted living and sold drugs. I was able to maintain this for a couple of years, but eventually the job of selling drugs became too demanding, and I quit my job at the facility to do that full time. I had to do whatever it took to stay well. I got involved with some shady people. One day I found myself very ill. I was so sick I couldn't leave the house. I assumed that it was because I was having withdrawal. I arranged to drop off my kids at my cousin's house so I could leave to pick up something to make myself feel better. We didn't make it very far before I blacked out and rolled my car. Thank goodness my kids were okay. But I was taken by ambulance to the hospital. After many tests, it was discovered that I had an infection in my blood. I was septic. I was told that if I had used the heroin that I was on my way to get, I would have felt better, went home, and went to bed, and I wouldn't have woken up. The heart surgeon told me that my kids would have found me dead the next day. I was an IV drug user for the last 3 years. I didn't share needles ever, but I did reuse my own dirty needles repeatedly. This is where the infection came from that left holes in both my mitral and aortic valves. I spent 3 months at Munson on IV antibiotics. One day within the next 10 years, my heart doctor told me that I will need valve replacement. The police found me at Munson and questioned me about a gun that I had purchased for my dealer. I knowingly bought a gun for a felon. When I was released from Munson, I did outpatient rehab, but once I completed that, they put out a warrant for my arrest. On bond, I wasn't on my best behavior because I felt like I was already in trouble and things couldn't get much worse. My multiple bond violation caused the judge to sentence me above the guidelines. I was sentenced to 9 months with eligibility for community corrections at my halftime. This was a huge devastation because since I had no previous criminal record, my guidelines were 0 to 3 months, and that was exactly what I was expecting. This left me feeling depressed and hopeless. Upon my intake to the jail, I requested services from CMH. I was called out of my cell a few days later to speak with someone from CMH, and she gave me a few ideas on how to relieve my anxiety. I expressed to her my desire to change, and 1 month later, I found myself being moved into a new cell with other women who wanted to change. This was what we called the CMH cell. This is what quite literally saved my life. I'm not sure what my mental state would have looked like upon my release from jail if it wasn't for that program. We had group twice per day. We learned coping skills that I still use to this day. For example, grounding techniques and meditation. I discovered that a lot of my drug use was to self-medicate anxiety and depression and to maintain my do-it-all mentality. I soon realized that a lot of my personal relationships with the men that I was choosing made me feel like I was worthless. As a group, we set small goals for ourselves upon release, such as finding a job, making and keeping appointments for medical care, and being dependable. Things that most people can successfully do every day, but as people with substance abuse problems, we couldn't manage to do. When I became eligible for community corrections, there was a peer in the jail who made such a huge influence on me. She helped me make a resume so that I could find employment. And when she asked me what kind of work I wanted to do, my exact words were, "I want to do what you're doing, but I know I never can." She told me that it could be possible one day if I made the right choices in my life. I left the jail and went to transitional housing through ATS, which is where I was court ordered to go to groups. I love ATS, and I don't mean anything bad about them, but saying that I learned more from the groups in jail from CMH than I did at any other group than I ever attended. I found a job at a tanning salon on 8th Street near the sober living home. I still work there on Saturdays if they need help. I started working there 2.5 years ago when I was released from jail. They could depend on me. I started making and keeping up on my child support payments so that they could depend on me too. My kids spend every other weekend with me now. They also are very proud that I completed my high school credits to get my high school diploma. One day, I met Trevor at AA. We had the same probation officer, so we had to ask for permission to date. She approved. I had never been so respected in my life. It wasn't something that wore off over a few months. He wasn't charming, he was kind, not only to me, but to everyone we came across, even strangers on the street. I watched how he nursed his relationships with those closest to him and his relationship with God. I unexpectedly found myself expecting a third child. Trevor and I have a baby girl. She is 8 months old, and her brother and sister love her very much. She is the best surprise of all time. I completed my probation sentence. Unfortunately, events resulted in Trevor having to return to jail, and I look forward to his release. A life event that would have previously sent me into a tailspin, I've been able to get through with skills I learned in the jail program almost 3 years ago. I manage my life by setting small, attainable goals every single day, reaching out for help, and dropping my do-it-all mentality. I get the most important task done first. I meditate when I start to feel anxious, and I remind myself regularly that what happens with Trevor is not a reflection of my own personal recovery. In conclusion, even though my life is particularly stressful now, it is not unmanageable. I owe that to the skill set taught to me by CMH, skills that I will continue to use every single day for the rest of my life. And for that, I am forever filled with appreciation and gratitude. As we say in NA, we can only keep what we have by giving it away.
Very good.
So I share with people in conclusion with that, at Northern Lakes, we're fortunate to see people overcome challenges. And I think it's important for us to share that with the community partners because you don't see that all of the time. So Ashley has done a lot of great work to better her life and has been not only just in her own recovery, but in her own occupational realm of things, the relationships that she's rebuilding with her family, including her children. I'm humbled every day by the challenges that they face, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to see people overcome and the work that they do, the good work that they do, come to fruition. I appreciate you all for that, because without the partnership that we have and the local match that you provide, we would not be able to do the work that we do.
Okay. Any commissioner have anything that they'd like to ask?
That was a powerful testimony. Thank
Very well read. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I was on the board of directors for the Northern Lakes. We had heard about a veteran in another CMH down Kalamazoo area or someplace being turned away for services. And brought that up, and it was agreed to. I don't know if there's anything in writing or anything in rules as a director that you're supposed to follow through on, but that no veteran would be turned away from a CMH facility just because it's discovered that they're a veteran and, oh, you need to go to the VA. We're not going to do anything for you. Is that still a policy?
Well, Northern Lakes provides services to people who are severely mentally ill. So if they do meet that criteria, we will provide services. We provide crisis services to anyone. Medicaid does require that we're a payer of last resort. So we do still work with TRICARE and the VA to try and coordinate services. But as many of you know, we are the only provider in town in some places. And so then we do provide the services and help them. If they want to go to a VA, we help link them and get them connected.
Very good.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, just a couple things just for your knowledge. We do have a motion on today to approve our funding for the county funding for Roscommon County, which is $57,425. And and about a month ago, we also did a resolution in regards to opposition to the Senate bill of Senator Shirkey.
I appreciate that very much, and we utilize those. We send those to our association to include in the documents of the agencies and the counties, all of the entities that are opposing the bill. So I sent all of you an email with some updates that did come out. The Senate bills did come out of the Ops Committee. It's moving through the Senate for a vote. Senator Shirkey did tie bar it to $348 million. We've been educating people that is the one-time funding from ARPA, and really encouraging people to think about that big picture. What is that going to do for your kids and your grandkids 10, 15 years from now? You only get that money one time. And certainly we believe that we want the ARPA dollars, everybody does, but to say that that's the only way that we could get it, we believe that would be detrimental to our children and our grandkids. So I appreciate the support on that.
I don't know if you got notified of that we did
I did today.
you did today. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So those two things, the one thing we'll be doing is voting on the funding today. And then, like I said, we did that resolution a couple meetings ago. So, all right.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Nice presentation. Thank you. Do you want these today?
I'll take them.
Okay.
It might be good for you.
All right, then I might add some comments then, because I didn't know if you wanted it today, so I'll follow up on that. All right, thank you. Yep. Okay, item number 3, creation of a water resources department, discussion of the whole. I believe that, what?
Can we do Lori first?
Well,
She's gotta go. She's covering a station.
okay, all right. No problem.
I apologize for my late arrival. I'm here to recognize Deputy Aaron Grace. Aaron's been with us for 15 years as a correction officer. He was recently selected as through JailCon 2021 for his life-saving effort from last spring. And he received the Valor Award for that life-saving effort. It is a national award, so it wasn't just a local thing. It was throughout the United States. He was nominated by one of our other officers for the life-saving effort. And go back to that, it was last spring we had a gentleman come to our sheriff's lobby on a Sunday afternoon that had been stung by quite a few bees, and he was having an allergic reaction to it. So Officer Grace was able to grab an EpiPen and administered the EpiPen while the ambulance was en route to pick him up. Very proud to have him part of our team.
Now, has he been presented with that by this organization too yet?
It was an online ceremony last month.
Really? Okay.
Very proud though. It's quite the accomplishment.
It's a real accomplishment. And I had been notified about this probably 2 months ago. I think Jody informed me of it. So I was, and knowing Aaron, I've known him quite a while and his family, and he was always a very good football player at Roscommon and played with my son. So I was.
He's a good guy to have on our team.
Oh, and unfortunately, he probably wasn't able to attend today, right?
No, that was my mess up.
Oh, well, so you can rectify yourself. Can you bring him in here in the future?
I will do that.
Okay,
I will do that. There you go.
right. We'll just work him in, okay? Because I would like to, and I know the commissioners would like to recognize him.
It's
all right?
well deserved. I know that.
Correct, right. So, and it's always nice to put a face with a person. So,
Yes, it is.
all right, okay. So you got to go back to work.
I do.
All right. One of the things I wanted to touch on, I did get the jail report. I'll just touch on it. I'm very happy with I'm very happy how the revenue's coming in both for September and October, and we still got 2 months to go, but I think we're going to make our budgeted income figure for this year. Am I right? I don't remember what it was. Do you have the top of your head, Jody? We're going to be over it, so that's good.
I think we're already over on our revenue.
And it's, I was just gonna say expenses are trending in the right direction too, so, right. All right. Since you were here, I thought I'd share that with you, all right?
Very much.
All right, and please pass along to Aaron, the Board of Commissioners.
2 weeks. from
Did
today, right?
recognize him here, huh?
2 weeks from today?
Yep.
You want them here?
Yep.
Okay, we'll
You
make
can
it happen.
schedule it. Right?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Lori.
Okay, I guess we're back on schedule here. Item 3, creation of a water resources department, discussion of the whole. And I'm guessing here, but the two commissioners taking the lead on this is Commissioner Melvin and Commissioner Russo. Am I correct?
Well, this is, no, it's more Commissioner Russo who brought this forward. I didn't know he was bringing it forward until I saw it on the work session agenda.
Well, you knew it last Thursday though, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, you made it sound like you didn't know about it till right now. Okay, Commissioner Russo. you
Yes,
gonna Take the lead on this?
uh, where we need to, all of us, to sign just a resolution and move forward with this.
Who is this person? I guess I'm asking. At this point, do we have a person designated for this?
No, we don't. That's where we talked a couple of weeks ago about getting with Rex.
And what's his thoughts on it?
He was out of the area or the office last week, so I had no contact with him.
Mr. Wolfson has not been available. He's been out of town for the last couple weeks, so.
Okay, so you're looking for a resolution to create this department, Dave?
Yes, I am. We have to start somewheres, and I thought that'd be the place to start.
And the responsibility will lie with our drain commissioner?
Yes, it would if he's willing to take the job on.
Okay. Well, I guess we probably need to get him in here, don't we?
Yeah, but I just haven't been able to make contact with him. And
Okay, so you wanna, at this point, do you want to table this for further discussion down the
We
road?
can. And I'll bring it back up in 2 weeks. Hopefully he'll be back in the area and available.
Okay, and hopefully you can make some contact with him, because I'm sure that this position is gonna have to have some money with it. Correct?
Yes. Yeah, it can't just be a free duty.
Okay, so this would be for an elected position.
Yes, it could just be added right onto his position, and the terms would go for the fence.
Okay. We can push it down the road 2 weeks from now on the work session, give you a chance to get with our drain commissioner Rex Wolfson on this, and so we can see what's going on this. Okay, so I think it'd be premature to put it on for a vote in 2 weeks. I think we need more information before we can do that. Are we in agreement on that, gentlemen? Ken?
Yes, I would like to see other counties. Jody, do you know offhand, are other counties have water resource departments already?
She's looking it
I
up.
don't want to answer this question. No, I'm just kidding. I do not know that off the top of my head, with the exception of Oakland County. So I would hazard to guess that Rex would have that information, or at least be able to point us in the right direction for similar size that may operate in this fashion.
Okay, I'll be looking into that too then, to see if there's other counties that already have a water resource department and how that is set up.
How they fund it. Also find out how they fund it.
Okay.
all right? And also find out if it's an elected position or not. I'd be curious to find that out. All right, Tim, anything you'd like to add into this?
No, basically what you said, it's new to me, and like you said, that we gotta make sure we got somebody that will take the position, that wants to take the position, instead of throwing them into it. 'Cause you'd rather have somebody that volunteer instead of making them do it.
It's not unlike what happens now.
This is one of them positions I think that everybody should be on board with. I don't think you could actually appoint somebody without being here.
Understand more about what the positions, what all it entails.
Right, I'd like to see a job description also. So Ken, when you're doing your research with, if you do
Okay.
find some counties, find out if they got a job description for this thing too. All right. Mr. Milburn,
I'll wait.
okay? David, that all right with you?
Sounds good, Bob. Thank you.
All right, okay. Item number 4, employee COVID vaccination incentive program. Now, I'm going to go here again, but that's Commissioner Melvin and Commissioner Russo again, am I correct?
All right, this is something that I personally brought forward. I think David has supported it. I've had feedback from sheriff, undersheriff, and the judges in particular are in favor, are supporting this idea. Here's my thoughts on this. We're the employer. It would seem like it would be our responsibility to do everything that we could to ensure that this workplace is as safe as it can be. And I sometimes dread calling and talking with Jody in the morning, which I do quite often, to find out what the latest COVID hotbed situation is.
Oh, I thought you just dreaded calling her.
No, I dread hearing about, this person has it, that person has it. Now we have an employee that's been hospitalized about a week. And my understanding is that his condition is not improving yet. So, I mean, it's not like this, and this morning on the news, I see our Munson Healthcare for Northern Michigan has gone to code red for the first time ever because of the local immediate situation. It's not based on something in, as far as the whole rest of the country goes, it's right here in Northern Michigan. I know there's been incidents in the schools. My suggestion is, I know our Roscommon school system did a vaccine incentive for the employees. I have to ask mental health if they did it. On already, that's, so I'm looking for support from the rest of the board to investigate further having a vaccine incentive program where you reward the people that have been responsible and gotten vaccinated to ensure that we can continue the operation, normal operation of the business of the county. And then to maybe incentivize some people to get the vaccine that haven't gotten it.
Well, you got something on paper you can present to the rest of us?
It's a couple of things have to be included in it. I don't think I'm looking for a motion today. But
I wasn't thinking about today. I was thinking about, when are you talking about it?
in 2 weeks.
Are you going to get us some information before that?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless
So,
you-
and this is an incentive program is all you're talking about.
Right.
You're not talking about the government program.
No.
how much we talking?
I don't know. I'm looking for feedback from other people. I know the Roscommon schools offered $2,000 to each employee. They gave them $2,000 to get vaccinated. And if they got the booster, they got an additional day off. I don't know,
Where is this money gonna come from?
from COVID.
Lance,
From what?
he's calling right now to get the money. Don't worry about it. Just good job. So you allocated that additional $100,000 of the American Rescue Plan Act money over to the county, which can't be used for the testing of our employees, but can be used for the promotions of vaccinations. So there is that portion in there. One of the things that I was going to suggest to you is, I know that our union is supportive of this idea, and I believe that the president has kicked around some costs just for, what it would cost for a deputy to be off and covered and some variations of things. So it might be worth either talking to him now or talking to him one-on-one at some other point in time before you do that. So.
Well, we got Paul here today, so let's bring him up. He's willing. Yeah, I know. You got to come up here, bud. And your green light's on, so you're on go, okay?
Okay.
We're at the discussion of the whole, so that's what we got you here for, okay?
Personally, my wife had COVID. I had been vaccinated. If I hadn't been vaccinated, I would have not been able to come to work for whatever it was, 10 days. Fortunately, I'd been vaccinated. I could come to work, which saved the county somebody doing overtime in my job. And it's happened more than just to me, but personally, it happened to me. A number that we were throwing around was around $1,000 to be fully vaccinated. Whether it's 1 shot or 2 shot, depending on whether it was Pfizer, Moderna, or whatever, to be fully vaccinated.
Okay, anybody want to?
Well, originally I was thinking, like 500, but then I thought, well, and then I heard the schools did 2,000, and then I was thinking, well, what is it going to take to push some of these people over the edge? And I'm completely open to, since your suggestion, you have more contact with employees. I had more contact with judge, undersheriff, sheriff, a few employees that were, they want a safer working place too. And this would be a tool that could be used to help make this a safer working place. Because I see you got your mask in your hand, me here with this mask on, it's not protecting me from somebody that's an asymptomatic spreader. Suppose, no, but I'm protecting, I'm being respectful of the employees by wearing this mask. I'm protecting them just in the case that I could be asymptomatically spreading it. I won't know. I may never know. Around 59,000 people are infected from one person. In other words, it's not just you that gets COVID, it's the other people that you spread it to. On average, not everybody spreads it to 2.5 people, but on average, it's been determined that one infected person spreads it to 2.5 people. That goes on down the line. How many of those 59,000 people are going to die? The number's not zero. So anything that we can do to help stop this spread is going to help make this a safer workplace. If we do nothing, well, then that's what we've done. We've done nothing. We're not doing anything positive to try and make this a safer workplace. I feel this is a tool that could be used.
Mr. Milburn.
Different aspect. The gentleman just said he had a COVID shot. I appreciate you acknowledging that. Money doesn't stop COVID's vaccinations too. I'll put a little different spin on this. I've had both my COVID shots. I'll go on public record. I've had the booster. I've also had shingles 1 and 2 this year. I took the shots for that, and I have the Tdap because I'm a high-risk guy going to Haiti and Mexico. So I throw that out to the public. But the bottom line is, I personally believe the COVID vaccine to be safe and effective. As I mentioned, I took both shots to keep my family and friends safe in my community. However, the kicker is I don't think taxpayers should pay for citizens to be incentivized to immunize with the COVID vaccine. I do have concerns, and I did some research. I'm sure you guys did too. Pulled this off the internet. Obviously, anything can come off the internet, but there's a lot of articles about problems with paying people to be vaccinated. The kicker is we continue with these government programs. Where does it stop? Well, does government desire to need for more people to vote, and then provide a financial payment for people to vote, to lose weight, to stop smoking, to stop drinking? I mean, where does it end up? Additionally, how about those who have different religious belief or underlying medical concerns? I believe paying people to take a vaccine shot is government overreach in its purest form, and possibly interfering with basic rights. I believe the government payment program would start with good intentions, but would end with disastrous results. And Kenny, you and I, the three of us being military guys, I've often seen the military come up with a good program, but it didn't end up well. As I mentioned, I've taken the shots. I do think that incentive program would curb or at least slow down cases. I do believe that. But do we want to possibly force a pregnant young woman or a mother or dad, grandparent, or caregiver, or anyone for that matter, to get a shot, not because they believe in the efficacy of the COVID shot, or possibly because they're compelled to believe they need the perceived financial benefit? What happens down the road if the vaccine, which would result in deaths or birth defects, lingering side effects now in the future? Does the government go on the slippery, didn't mean to do that, oopsie, you took the money with no culpability? Let people make their own health decisions and not feel compelled because of the money. And I always hear the word free. We're talking about everything's free. This is taxpayers' money. Again, I believe in the shot. I took it. I think it's very, very important for people to be vaccinated. But I do respect those who have a different opinion. I believe the bedrock of democracy is listening to respectful dialogue and making decisions. That's how I feel. Do I feel the vaccine, again, it would be effective if we paid everybody? Absolutely. But $2,000, $1,500, we throw this money around. The bottom line is it safe? I think it is, but other people have different opinions, and I respect those.
Well, I'm sorry, Commissioner Milburn, but that's a bunch of hooey. You know, your idea that, this is going to, then you're going to incentivize people to do this and do that. And no, we're talking about a disease that is ravaging our community right now, not some hypothetical thing. And trying to, saying it's, this is this what if mentality. What if we do this, then what if this other, let's call it out for what it is. It's what if. It's ludicrous to try and argue something on these what if arguments. It's something here right now. Looks like
Well,
Vance.
and if I could,
Okay, before we have further comments for you guys down the road, I'd like to hear from Mr. Russo at this time, please. Commissioner Russo at this time, please.
Well, I like the idea, and I was thinking like $750 if you had the shots, you get the booster, you get additional $250, make it $1,000.
I believe Vance had his hand up. If David's done.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to go to Commissioner Muckenthaler first. Paul, you can be excused if you're done. Unless you want to add.
I like the idea. I mean, you don't have to get the shot. If you don't get the shot, you don't get the money. It's as simple as that. If you already got the shot, congratulations, and you get a little something for getting the shot. As far as the price, I mean, I like David's idea. I mean, just because they're a little smaller, it doesn't going to cost us as much money. But I really don't have a problem with it. I mean, people, just because you offer them money doesn't mean that they're going to come out and take the shot. They may or may not because they're on the fence. But if they need a little push, so be it.
And I would also like to look at it as equally a reward for the employees that have been responsible and in a timely manner gotten the vaccine to help stop the spread and help the county remain open and able to operate and to make the workplace as safe as possible.
let's be careful singling out people and telling people that you're bad, you're good for getting it and you're bad for not. Let's not go there.
And Mr.
Not,
Chairman.
that's not right, okay?
I don't like the thing that I just said, hooey. It's not hooey. I respect your opinion. I would ask that you respect mine. The bottom line is I took the shot, so I'm going to get the money. The kicker is I do respect those who have a different opinion. But my opinion is not hooey. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Vance, as a department head from 911, had his hand up, so I'll recognize him at this time for his input, please.
Okay, good morning. So speaking to you as the director of 901, I think the question on the table is it incentivizing the shots? Yes, I'm in support of that. My employees are in support of that. I can tell you that I have been communicating with my employees for months about this because I felt like this was going to come to the head. It's a separate issue from the incentivize, in my opinion. And so on that question alone, absolutely. If it comes down to mandatory testing immunizations, I can tell you that we will probably lose at least one dispatcher. And it's too bad that we're being put into this position. My personal opinions are going to stay right here. If we want to talk after, that's fine. But we can't afford to lose anybody. Incentivize, absolutely. I think it needs to be done. The price, I think, is there's no price you can put on that, in my opinion. But as from a employer standpoint, we're going to lose people. I can't afford it. I can't afford to lose anybody. So.
And it's kind of, that's two, like you just said, it's two separate issues because you've got the government mandate program out there, which is now under court orders.
It may not even go
challenged. It's been challenged, so who knows where that's going to go. But am I correct, Ken and Dave, what you, and Tim, you're talking about the incentive part of it, which
Yeah,
is the other part.
I'm talking just the Senate part.
See, and I agree with that. I totally agree that if you do incentivize the program, that you'll have people take the shot. And I totally agree with that. I said that earlier. I believe you'll have people take the shot. The question I have is the people that don't take the shot, are they going to be ostracized? Are they going to be belittled? Are they going to be put upon? The bottom line is that's the part that, and I do worry about the slippery slope. I do worry about government overreach. You know, I've seen government, in my opinion, sometimes the government does overstep its bounds. I think they do have good intentions, but the end result often can be disastrous. And I don't want people to feel that, gee, I need the $500 or $1,000. I don't really want to do this because I have religious beliefs against it, or I have compromised immunity issues. So I'm going to take the money because I need it, because I need to pay for my kids' future, or I need to pay for some groceries. That's the problem that I get. Again, I think we'll see success? Absolutely. Do I think it's probably over government overreach? And I think the answer is yes.
Well,
So I don't disagree with your basic premise.
it's taxpayer money.
It's taxpayers'
No
money.
matter where it comes from, I don't care where it comes from. If it comes from the federal government, if it comes from our county people, or if it comes from the state, it's taxpayer income.
Right.
It's the taxpayer dollars that you're allocating for incentive program.
Yep. So again, separate issues. If it survives the court, and I know what my gut is telling me, we'll be talking again. So.
Right, and on that note, on talking about mandates, because I know Jody, the county controller, at some point then OSHA, she's going to be responsible for ensuring that we don't violate the OSHA regulations. It's a mandate as such, but that's still not going to force everyone to get the vaccine.
Oh, absolutely.
You have the option in this current mandate that's in the court. If you don't want to take the vaccine, that's just fine. I have no problem with anybody that doesn't want to take the vaccine. It's your own personal choice. But they will have to wear a mask, and they will have to be tested weekly to ensure the rest of the employees in the workplace are safe and have a feeling of safety, that they're not being forced to work in an unsafe work environment. If you're a roofer working on a roof, now here I go with a what if, you have to wear a safety harness. OSHA says you wear a safety harness because too many people fell off the roof and were injured and died and were causing great expense. So we need to do what we can. So like you say, is they have the choice. They don't have to, nobody has to take the vaccine. I didn't have to take it.
But Kenny, you just mentioned earlier, quote, if I quote you, you just said you did the responsible thing. I did it to see for my family, for my friends, for my community. So you're basically saying that if you don't take a vaccine, you're not being responsible.
No, if you don't take the vaccine, you need to be responsible and wear a mask and be tested.
And we have our mask and we wear them and
So,
fine with that.
Chairman, I didn't want to get off track because I do truly believe this is two separate issues. As far as the incentive, I'm behind it. I'll be happy to work with whatever, give my input. As far as the mandate goes, if it comes up again, I have a lot of comments I'd like to share.
Well, it's like I say, there's a court order against it right now and they're looking into it. So at this point, the way it usually goes, we're probably not talking till after the first of the year on that issue, but it's out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're saying you would lose an employee because they wouldn't want to wear a mask and be tested weekly?
Yes. So,
Can we
This is-
table that issue?
yes,
And not talk about that?
right. It's
And
separate.
they are two separate issues.
Confusing two different things.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, trying to push that down the road.
And that is in my report to give you guys a brief update on. Monetarily, let's just talk money from my job point. Couple different facts here. The
Thank you.
first one would be, we are discussing responsible use of taxpayer money. I will throw out the caveat that for over a year now, we have been paying employees who had to quarantine based on exposures to quarantine. Is that a different incentive than if you're vaccinated and able to come to work under CDC guidelines and make sure that county operations continue? How is that different? Explain that to me as a taxpayer. So that is my first monetary. They are all eligible, useful tools in expenses of taxpayer money to continue operations. That's my general controller statement. The second portion of this is, if there is a monetary amount determined, which would need to be set by the Board of Commissioners for doing this, that would just need to be simply laid out within a very basic policy. The third is, just remember that already, if you are exposed and notified to either our departments or the health department, your vaccination status is already known. So your children get called in with 7 other children that have been exposed and asked now if they are vaccinated or not. And those who are can return to class, and those who aren't, in most school districts now, are going back home because of the spread. So those are just all my little points to throw out for you.
And you know, the beginning of this discussion, I wrote on my sheet here after I was listening to Kenny talk, money doesn't stop COVID, vaccines do. I didn't take the vaccine shot for money. I did it for safety. I'm concerned with paying people to do certain things. And I haven't heard from the chairman yet, because, you know, Bob, I want to hear what you have to say too, please.
Well, one question I have is for people that don't take the vaccine, if the money's not gonna make us 100% compliant in that regard. I know that already. Who's gonna pay for the testing of these employees that choose not to?
That's a totally different issue.
You said we weren't going there anymore.
Yeah, we're not on
But
Yeah.
that's part of the incentive program.
No, it's not.
No.
No, we didn't say nothing about testing on the incentive. It's just if you want to divulge your vaccine status and claim a reward for it, you can. You don't have to take the incentive. We're not even forcing people to. We're not going to go around and ask each individual employee, are you vaccinated? No, we'll just put it out there. Here's an opportunity. You can take it or not. You can, if you so choose, you don't have to be rewarded. Or take the shot and get.
If I don't, I'll use myself for example. If I don't get vaccinated, here I am divulging my personal information, which I didn't want to do because I think it's my own personal business. But I have to be tested. So who's going to pay for that? Even if it's a separate issue, who's paying for it?
You don't have to be tested.
If I don't get vaccinated?
No, you don't have to be tested.
Not under, that is the other thing that's currently.
That's over in the other thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's why I want to make sure I'm trying to make sure I'm perfectly clear on this, okay? Because I haven't seen anything on paper. Everything I've got here is coming from people's personal basis and so forth. Personally, I feel it's taxpayer money. I'm real hesitant about an incentive program. I don't think it's going to make us 100% compliant. And I think we're going to lose people. I think we got to be real careful. I know, Kenny, you referred to a couple of people. We got to be careful referring with HIPAA, because we don't want to divulge other people's.
Actually, HIPAA does not apply to COVID vaccination status. I
Right.
have
Well-
clarified that in several variations.
However, I do have a question, Mr. Chairman. If we're paid money, whether it's $1 or $1,000, there'll obviously be a list that's available to the public to see who received the money. So that would be an indicator. I would expect that would be something that would,
Commissioner
I'm getting a
Glover,
head shake back here.
Commissioner
because-
Glover, currently that information is available for whom we have paid to quarantine.
Okay,
So
I did not know that.
we are already let that boat sail by offering quarantine pay to employees for the last year and a half.
Okay.
So that information is available and out.
Okay, well, we can keep this going. Personally, I don't think I think we're violating people's rights, and I'm not in favor of the incentive plan. But in all due respect,
Court administrator that would like to speak.
yes, Danielle.
If I could just.
Push the green light.
There we go, okay. And not just in the aspect of the word incentive. In the last 2 years, I have worked about every position in the district court offices. One was during the stay-home order, where 3 employees covered 10. Now, we are dealt with a 50% vaccination rate in the district court. When someone is positive, we have about 50% of our staff out on quarantine. The district court show must go on. So we have employees working 3 positions at a time. If anything, to them, and typically it has been salaried employees that make that coverage. Ones that aren't entitled to overtime, they're just expected to keep the show going. It's somewhat of a morale booster for the ones that continue to cover all the needs of the office operations. I certainly respect everyone's right to choice, to freedom. That's what America is for. I mean, that's what we're known for. I would never inflict my own views on anyone else. I respect the individuals that choose to get vaccinated. I respect the individuals that choose not to get vaccinated. But the incentive should be seen as also somewhat of an appreciation for the employees that are continuing operations. We have 10 employees in the district court for a reason, not 5. So all these times when we have had employees on quarantine 4 times this year, 14 days apiece, or 2, weeks apiece, that's a lot. That's a lot of work put on 50% of the staff. So if you could just think of it in that aspect as well, not this push of $1,000 is going to make somebody that absolutely does not want to get the vaccine. I don't know if that's the answer, but it's also, in my perspective, a morale booster. Thank you.
What's the projected cost of this? I realize you don't know what it's a moving
Right,
target,
I was gonna
but
say, if you have a worst case scenario, if we assume that at the end you have 50% of your total current employee population vaccinated, at 1,000, you're gonna look at $97,000.
well, 2 weeks when I got wind of this, I heard $500 a person. Now it's up to 1,000. I'm just throwing it out there because that's all the information I've had. Actually, I've had no Commissioner Melvin and Commissioner Russo, neither one of them have talked to me personally about this matter at all. And as chairman of the board, I was kind of taken aback by that. So, but that's just my thoughts on it. And what is our let me ask you this, what's our vaccination rate right now?
On a tentative guess, we are no more than 30% vaccinated within our county, which probably is one of the lowest figures. And I will tell you that we do have employees that just don't. They just don't. It's not a stance. It's not a personal choice. But if we were like, yeah, you can have tomorrow off to get vaccinated, they go and they do it.
Well,
And
you know, the health department, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the last health department meeting, a health officer went over each county, and Roscommon County led to 6 counties at 65% vaccination rate.
it was something like that, maybe.
The county
maybe a
of
little higher.
Roscommon, as in the population.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The whole county was 65% vaccinated.
60% of our county is over the age of 60, and those seem to
I-
be people.
I understand that, but
Just look at the board.
Herb, we're taking comments. Herb, you might as well come on up so everybody can hear you.
Daniel, I totally agree with everything you said. I understand where you're coming from. Government overreach is my concern, but I appreciate your unvarnished opinion. Thank you.
There was an article in the Wall Street Journal a little ways back about these incentive programs. And what they said was they hadn't found any that worked. All you guys are talking about, the value of getting more vaccinations. But if the incentive program doesn't work, there's no use. And that's what the Wall Street Journal says, and they're pretty accurate.
Okay, thank you. There's some more information I get to read.
I did the same thing. I went to the library and I did some research, and the research indicates, however, that paying people to take immunizations probably doesn't work. I agree to a point. I do believe, like Danielle said, if you offer people the day off, like Jody mentioned, people will feel, hey, maybe this is a good idea. But again, my biggest concern is I don't disagree with probably almost everything that everybody said. I just worry about government overreach. That's my biggest concern. Once the government gets a program, they think it's a good idea, and then there's that oopsie factor. Look at Vietnam and Agent Orange. Annie, you can jump in on this one. It was all a good deal until we got back and found out we had issues. The government overreach. Government overreach is a concern of mine.
Okay, going forward here in 2 weeks, Commissioner Melbourne and Commissioner Russo, what are you proposing? Because you seem to be the leader, or Commissioner Muckenthaler for that matter. The three of you jump in here, okay, because
What I'm proposing in 2 weeks is $750. If you get the booster, you get additional $250 for $1,000.
say that again. $750 to get vaccinated.
Yep, and then if you get the booster, you get additional $250 for $1,000.
Total of $1,000. Are you in support of that, Commissioner Melvin?
Yes.
Well, that's the motion that you'd like to have crafted and brought forward at the next meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Muckenthaler, you on board with that?
Yeah, I can live with that.
Well, it's a democracy, so we'll move it forward for 2 weeks. And I appreciate the information, the reading information you gave me here. So I can you probably want this back, huh?
I can give it to the public. You can share it with whoever you want to.
Okay,
Stuff I pulled off the internet during my research. Again, I don't always agree with everything you pull off the internet, but I believe it gives you some things to be concerned with. It'll be interesting, as Jody mentioned, that we're 30%. It'll be interesting if we do incentivize the program, what our percentage will be after a period of time, whatever that period of time would be.
okay.
It would be 90%. It's 90%. That'd be wonderful. But I'll wait and see how it shakes out.
Okay.
30% is all. I didn't realize. I thought we were higher than that too, because like you said, 65%. We'll see where we're at the end.
Well, like I say, the health department with Roscommon County leads with 65%, and everybody out, all the other counties behind us were less than that. So, but like Jody pointed out, that's people all the way up to 90 or whatever. So,
We have a very young workforce. That's what you have to remember.
Just at this point, I would like to remind the board that, we can have our personal opinions as individuals, but we have heard from employees, union reps, department head, judge, sheriff, undersheriff, This is now being driven from the other way. This is being driven by the employees. It's not just us two, like, Danielle so eloquently said, it's not imposing our own individual beliefs on someone else. This is reacting to the situation and what we're hearing from the employees that want a safe workplace and would like to have everything done possible to try and make that better.
Well, the county being what it is, I've had employees already talk to me that are not in favor of this. So just to be transparent about it, okay? It's not one-sided. And it is personal. I do think that, I have my own problem, but I'll keep them to myself. So, all right, is that enough discussion on that? We'll move that forward in 2 weeks. Okay. This is how things get politicized. All right, item 5, 2021 Person of the Year. Did anybody bring anything in on the people that they want, or they just have somebody that they're shooting out there? Because
Eugene Thompson for me, Mr. Chair.
I have somebody I'm shooting out there, and that is Becky Yonkers, Children's Assessment Center Director.
okay, and I have someone also, David Foltz. Tim?
I really didn't think much about it. I mean, I like the idea of Becky.
Okay. Commissioner Russo.
Like David's on a
Taking a
comfort
comfort
break.
break.
That's why I'm not really crazy about Zoom. Right there's a perfect example.
He's got the biggest screen.
And Danielle's double dipping. She's up on the screen and she's here.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, let's hold this till he gets back, but let's move ahead with number 6, which is the Roscommon Transit Authority Board appointment. Steve Du Bois did reach out a couple of months ago looking for somebody, and at that particular time, Jody volunteered to sit on that board. And so she did respond back to Steve Du Bois, and she got a positive response. So that is a person that they'd like to bring forward as the authority board appointment for the Transit Authority in 2 weeks.
Have you been on that board before, Jody?
Yes, I actually served on the board when I was still at Garrish Township, but then I had to step down when I accepted this position.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Come in. I was the
There he is.
representative for local government at that point in time. I know Steve had tried to be here, but there was probably a timing issue with another meeting as well. I did actually have to go an interview yesterday.
Oh, really?
With the other candidate, so I wasn't the only one. I just apparently was the one that they thought fit what they were looking for the best. Maybe it's because I drink as much coffee as everybody else. I'm not sure. But yes.
I only had one concern, and I did voice that with Jody, is that I don't want her to load her wagon up too high. Okay, I'm concerned about that, and I'm so concerned about it that I'll say it publicly, but I have said it to her personally too. So, but I think she'd be a very good person. She said that, and I just found out she just served on that board before, so she's familiar with it. So she probably is better qualified than I would be. So we'll move that ahead. Commissioner Russo.
Yes, sir.
Back to 2021 Person of the Year. Did you have a candidate that you'd like to present?
No, I don't at this time. Thank you.
Okay. So we've got the 3 people that we'll bring forward at the next meeting. And I think if Michelle's not here, Amy's taking her place today. Thank you. But Michelle will do a ballot. Is what we've done in the past on that, okay? And I do have some information coming that I'll be able to share with you on my candidate prior to that too next week.
All good candidates. I think how we've done.
Oh, excellent candidate. So there's no
We
question.
give the ballot to the clerk. The clerk reads the ballot, and then typically, well, matter of fact, not typically, but always, as I wrote the thing about 10 years ago, we all vote unanimously for whoever's picked. This is supposed to be a opportunity for us to be able to award somebody in the county that's done significant things for the county, and it's always been a unanimous vote. So we all come together to vote unanimously to award that person, so there's no hard feelings. It's the gentleman and the ladylike thing to do.
Well, we could give out a lot of these awards because we've got that many deserving people.
I understand, yes, Mr. Chairman. Yeah,
All right.
all good candidates.
All right, with that, does anybody have, any commissioners have anything else they want to discuss in the work session? This is where we do the heavy lifting, so
But heavy lifted out.
we'll be back here at 10:25, okay? Thank you. Good morning, welcome to Roscommon County Board of Commissioners, regular meeting, November 10th, 2021, 10 o'clock a.m., hybrid meeting accessible in person or via Zoom. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Melvin, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, item number 3, and for everybody's knowledge, welcome Amy. She's clerking our meeting today, and she gets real lucky because her and I discussed this before the meeting, but she gets 16 resolutions to read through, so, or 16 motions, I should say, to read through. So, Amy, if you could, please, would you have roll call of board members, please?
Here.
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 Okay, item number 4, approval of the agenda, please.
So move, Mr. Chair.
I'll second.
Okay, motion was made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner Muckenthaler to approve the agenda. Any further discussion from any commissioner at this time, please, in regards to the agenda? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Here, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 5, please. Approval of minutes of meetings, regular meeting October 13th, 2021 and October 27th, 2021, and the special meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee of the whole, October 27th, 2021.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Motion was made by Commissioner Melvin, seconded by Commissioner Snyder to approve the minutes of October 13th, regular meeting, and October 27th, regular meeting, and the Budget and Finance meeting of October 27th also. Any further discussion from any commissioners at this time? Hearing or seeing none, roll call. Yes.
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 Okay, item number 6, claims and accounts. So Amy, we're back to you with claims and accounts, please.
Move to approve Class A bills in the amount of $472,163.67.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Melvin, seconded by Commissioner Muckenthaler to approve Class A's in the amount of $472,163.67. Any further discussion from any commissioners at this time? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin.
Yes.
Okay, Class A's, or excuse me, claims and accounts.
Move to approve claims and accounts in the amount of $246,689.55.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Motion is made by Commissioner Snyder, seconded by Commissioner Milburn to approve claims and accounts in the amount of $246,689.55. Any further discussion from any commissioners at this time? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Milburn,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Be back to you later. Item number 7. I need to have a motion to go into a public hearing in regards to the 2022 fiscal year budget.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner Melvin to go into public hearing in regards to the 2022 fiscal year budget. Okay, we are in it. Everybody has every commissioner has a copy of that budget. Cody, the controller, do you have anything additional to add? Any other information pertinent to what was said 2 weeks ago?
Not really. I think overall, if you have the actual budget packet in front of you, which I know is Krista's new favorite thing that I'm doing. Generally, through the budget considerations, obviously in 2021, our budget benefited from the federal and state aid that we received to offset our increased expenses and lost revenues through the COVID-19 pandemic. We still do have the 50% fund balance that is considered and maintained in the proposed budget. We have anticipated expenditures that have increased slightly with or below the consumer price index rate of 5.4%. The cost of living increases for elected, appointed, and non-union employees was set at 3%. Union employees at 2% per contract. The dental vision premiums will remain the same, with the health insurance based on the changes made at a 2.9% increase. Non-union for the MERS defined contribution still up to 5%. Total health insurance premium for non-union still at 5% of premiums for employee out-of-pocket costs. And we did look at a fairly large increase for the MERS defined benefit retirement program. It increased roughly 9.4%, and we will see that again, as we've talked about, continuously over the next probably decade as well. We are still looking to make an additional payment of about $75,000 to that unfunded liability. Emergency management, which is historically part-time, is to be a full-time position as of January 1, 2022. We are also looking at the full-time equalization secretary position that was vacated at the beginning of 2021, finally being filled, but at a part-time level. 911 has a lot of budgets for their 13th full-time position, if we can ever get there, and funding for enhanced technology projects. Constantly on the go. For 2022, we do have some first, the excise tax funds for recreational marijuana businesses located within the townships of Roscommon County. A 2% increase in state allocated revenue sharing based on what we actually received last year. We also have monies included in there for the creation of the lake level districts, special assessment districts for all 3 lakes, and for engineering services for needed repairs to the Houghton Lake level control structure. You are really looking at a minimal increase overall between 21 to 2022 in revenues and funds. The only reason it looks a little bit larger is obviously we have that new special fund that has $2.3 million in it for American Rescue Plan funding. This is my summary.
Okay, that's a summary of the 2022 budget. So, and it is budget, it is balanced, and we still maintain our 15% fund balance, providing nothing happens next year. Everything goes perfectly. So, any other public comment out there as far as public comment in regards to our budget for 2022? And that budget, Jody, give me a total of that. What that total budget, do you have that for the record? 10 million what? Okay.
For the general fund or the total budget?
The general fund and then the whole thing, which is all the special funds, be it 911, be it the road commission, be it everything.
Is $285,700. Overall county budget for all funds, $5,095,000.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? Going once?
Of a statement?
Well, I'm looking for public right now, but last I checked, you were elected.
Just trying to jump in, Mr. Chair.
Okay, well, I'm going to get there. Any other public comment? Because this is for public comment. All right, so I just want to make sure that if there isn't anything out there that I get it. Okay, so with that, I see none. So Mr. Milburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I often feel that we're casual when we give praise, but we have an exceptional place to work. We have exceptional department heads and employees. But I can tell you one thing, if it wasn't for the selfless, devoted, and intelligence of our county controller our job would be much more difficult. So thank you, Jody, for all that you do for us, for the county, and for the county at large. It's very appreciative. It's got to be a tough job.
And I'd also like to add, Jody did even better job this year than last year, putting this together. Just a bang up job. But thank you very much, Jody. What I would like to add, so that the commission, bring it to the commissioner's attention, that, there's no fat in this budget at all. All right. So if you guys got any special projects or somebody approaches you with special projects, we have no money. We're going to have a difficult time just keeping the services going that we have right now. We need to really take a serious look at a restoration millage with the Headley. And I'll be bringing some ideas forward on that in the next months to come, because it's something that I think we're going to have to go to the general public and put it on the ballot. All right. Because this is something that's just been coming for a lot of years, but we're right there. We're not going to be able to maintain our 15% fund balance without looking at that Headley override. Okay. And it's going to be difficult to get that, because we're going to have to present that to the taxpayers. All right. Nobody wants their taxes raised, but if you want services, we're going to have to raise taxes. So, okay. With that, I would accept a motion to come out of public hearing on the 2022 fiscal year tax budget.
Mr. Chair.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner Muckenthaler to come back out of public hearing, go back to our regular meeting. Roll call.
Melvin,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Okay, thank you. Item number 8 under public comment. Before I go there, I'd just like to make a comment that all public comments, whether it's the first one or the second one, please, let's keep them respectful and civil to everyone concerned, not only to elected, but also the public at large and anybody that could be zooming in on us, okay? Because this is a public body. So with that, I'll leave it alone. Mr. Milburn, have anything?
Yeah, vulgarity or any innuendo will not be tolerated by this board. It's not fair to the Board of Commissioners, because we represent the public. And as a representative of the public, we need to be respected, just like we respect those who have a different opinion or give us an opinion of theirs. So yeah, no vulgarity or innuendo should be allowed. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Melvin, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Milburn.
Jim, nothing? Dave, nothing. Oh, there he is. He's back. Okay. On to number 9, Administrator Controller Report, please.
Hi. I feel like I just don't.
Are you back? You're back.
Okay. So let's see. My ever favorite lawsuit updates. We are awaiting briefs on the Courage versus Roscommon County Treasurer. That is in regard to a tax property sale where the person in question did not file the appropriate request with the court in a timely manner. But we'll see where that goes. Chill versus Roscommon County still sitting in somebody's pile at the State Court of Appeals. The Mock versus Roscommon County et al. In regards to the jail death. Depositions have occurred, just waiting on some follow-up information for that. UAM Sheriff's arbitration has been rescheduled for early March. The opiate suit, there is no change. We are just awaiting those final bankruptcy awards. There is a meeting Friday afternoon through NACO that I'll be attending that outlines some of that a little bit more. Legislative updates. If you haven't heard, but I'm sure you did, the Infrastructure Investments and Jobs Act, the $973 billion infrastructure package was passed by the U.S. House of Representatives, and it did include about $550 billion for transportation, water, power, energy, environmental issues, public land purchases and improvements, broadband, and community economic resilience. So it's a pretty huge thing. So I'll be curious to see how that trickles down to our small Roscommon County, 24,000 person population, but let's hope, you know, at a minimum, let's hope that our transportation industries, our roads and transit actually see some of that funding to offset some of their increased expenses as well. The ever popular topic of the OSHA emergency temporary standard, which was issued on Monday, it is currently on stay, so no action needed while it is awaiting the Court of Appeals decision. So government briefs were actually due on Monday to the appeals court for those states that have applied to appeal this emergency temporary standard. The general gist of this emergency temporary standard is we want employers of 100 employers or more to require a vaccination for all of their employees. If the employees don't choose to vaccinate, then they no longer have a job. But you don't have to necessarily do that. If you don't want to do that as an employer, you can simply test all of your non-vaccinated employees on a weekly basis. I would love to tell you that that's as simple as it goes, but it's 456 pages that I got halfway through, got angry at something I read and threw it on the floor. And so I will have to pick it back up because apparently we do not number those at the federal level. So I'll have to be reprinting that to read it. Yes, sometimes my temper gets the best of me. So there's lots of thoughts and things that may or may not. Ideally, it would be to be prepared. OSHA has already said that they will adopt it as is, with no more stringent guidelines than currently exist within that OSHA emergency temporary standard. So we have an idea what to expect if it goes through. The big thing would be it's only 30 days. There's only a 30-day process in which to make it happen. So spending a little bit of time now will put us in a much better position if we end up having to abide by this emergency temporary. We do have unions, and so we would need to do a right to bargain on any policies that were put into place with those unions. So I have already reached out to our labor attorney to kind of assist with what that looks like. While obviously you can't, there's no bargaining on a OSHA standard, i.e. I heard Commissioner Melvin, on the break make a comment about, there's OSHA requires that you have steel gloves in working with certain cutting machines. You can't argue that as a union and say you're not going to wear steel gloves because you're a union, but who pays for the gloves? What time does it happen? Who administers it? How is it kept? Those things are all a right to bargain. Daily work, open enrollment closed on Friday at midnight with 100% completion. Thank you, Noelle, for babysitting everyone.
Thanks for helping me.
Generally, just so you know how this works is in order for us to offer the programs that we offer with our HSA, with offering cash and lieu programs, we must, under the IRS guidelines, have what is called a cafeteria plan. With the cafeteria plan, we must have a set open enrollment period. You must choose your benefits every year, whether you want changes or not, and we must have a cutoff date. If you do not comply with the cutoff date, you do not have benefits next year, period. There's no finagling, there's no going back. So we were down to Friday morning, maybe 14 employees? So really, of 160 benefit eligible employees, not too bad. But there's a lot of Noelle and I texting and emailing. I called the bosses to call employees to remind them because we don't want anybody to get to midnight. But Noelle does a lot of walking through with people that come in, calling them and walking through over the telephone. I am not above calling wives or husbands or children to make sure that it gets done, just because it is so important. I don't want anybody. So we're 2 years into this online enrollment at 100% completion. So 3 years, sorry. I probably read that first year, I forgot. Obviously, I've been working on the finalization of the 2022 budget for review and approval, along with preparing the 2022 budget summary packet. We did have an airport meeting, which I'm sure Commissioners Russo and Milburn will mention. Went very well. We discussed their appropriations for the year. There is an understanding of that. They do understand that that is their appropriation and it isn't stinginess or that nobody wants to invest within the airport. It is simply in every appropriation, those come after mandatory services. Appropriations are available upon funding those things that we must, not that the community would like us to. So we did find, I did find an interesting USDA grant that came through that would allow for grant funding to create new hangars at local community airports. Eric and Keith will be working with that, and I have reached out to our local USDA rep to assist us as well, so cross fingers. If we can get those in at a, even at a 70% grant funding and a 30% loan, low rate loan through the USDA, I think that that would definitely bring business. It would definitely fill the 10 people they have on a waiting list, which is wonderful. So I appreciate Eric being willing to work on that. I do have a meeting scheduled with Eagle later on this afternoon in regards to our landfill. I know that I had a couple of commissioners ask, just to reinvestigate what can we do, what shall we do, how long do we have to do this? So I will follow up on that this afternoon and give you a report at the next meeting.
Well, just on that real quick is that if we can't use it for something, can we get rid of it so it doesn't keep costing us? Find that out too.
That is on my list.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Because I'd like to get rid of that completely.
I am working on the annual requirement that we have through the state for fiscal transparency in order to get our county incentive money that is due on November 30th. We did receive full grant funding from the state to continue the hybrid court program. Our circuit court administrator, Terry Cleany, works very, very hard on that, and I appreciate her diligence on it. The Gypsy Moth teams are still evaluating the county. They are still conducting their counts and will work until the weather has permanently derailed their ability to actually see anything or work safely as well. I did send out to you guys, and hopefully you got a chance to see it, the list through Eagle. They gave the kind of swath of what they have found for defoliation. It was just basically a map that showed this nice little swath of red where the defoliation has occurred. What I found interesting was in that area, 5 of those counties actually did spray, have spray programs. I did ask Julie Crick, our MSUE forester, I said, why is this middle belt? Like Nuevo County is horrendous. We're horrendous. Oscoda County, Ogama County, and it is our prevalence of oaks. We have what they like to eat. So we're popular with gypsy moths in our area. So
In regards to gypsy moth, the gypsy moth crew out there, I know they've been going out on the public. Has the public been respectful to them?
absolutely.
Okay.
That is one of the things that I will say in the last couple of years with the outreach to the community and that change in gypsy moth program that you implemented, there really is a lot more two-way communications. I think that people are happy to have them on their property. For the most part, they understand that the people counting don't have anything to do with allocations and final decision making, and are happy to let them be on the job and work from there. And I've gotten several calls on positive feedback on the stickers on the side. So great idea, Commissioner Milburn. That was definitely
Good, because I did have one constituent that said that they got the gypsy moth crew was disrespected out there. So I just wondered. So apparently it was just the one, which is good.
I've had the same thing, and I appreciate that compliment, Jody. The last couple of years have been nothing but positive feedback at the coffee shop, at Walmart, at Glen Supermarket, wherever you go. I've heard just tons of praise for the gypsy moth program.
we have a great, small but mighty is what I keep telling them. Daniel is doing a fabulous job, and they really do work they really work for the citizens for the program. So on that note, next year the millage for gypsy moth is up. Remember, we only did a 2-year millage, so we'll have to think about that. But also you have a sheriff, E911, and animal control that's up in 2022, along with a transit authority. It is a busy 2022 next year. I did send a notice of grant application status to all of our ARP grant applicants. that the steering committee, whether positive or negative about results. The grant agreements, I just finished up creating a grant agreement for everyone. So those and the official letters will be mailed this week to them. Once those are returned and signed, then the funds can be expended as the Board of Commissioners allocated and approved. So we will work on that with them. I have put out a couple feelers to a few people that Commissioner Schneider and I had thought of individually and collectively to maybe assist with that oversight. And I'm going to tell you what, people that have retired or chosen not to work during COVID are not interested in coming back to work still. So it's a hard thing, but we'll figure it out. We always do. The Lake Level Special Assessment District's kickoff meeting is going to be scheduled shortly with our attorney. The attorney and Spicer's group, which is who they will be utilizing for this, will be meeting internally next week to review the needs and the processes and then come up with a final plan for that. We haven't had any further movement currently on the design for repairs at the Holton Lake Level control structure. They're kind of at a standstill right now, just having conversations with Eagle in regards to what needs to be done, what may be done. Obviously, construction wouldn't start until the spring anyhow at this point in time, nor will it start now until we actually have that special assessment district created so we can pay for it. I will tell you that we were able to get our permit extended for 1 year. So we do have at least a 1-year extension from that. And Eagle has been extremely nice in assisting with this process for us. Last and not least, there was an impromptu department head meeting yesterday in regards to all the variations of things COVID, policies, current numbers, concerns of department heads in maintaining staffing, the potential emergency temporary standards that have been put out and the incentive plan. So that was actually very fun. Nobody likes to talk about those things, but we do have a great group of people that are very intelligent with some really great thought processes in that. So that's all.
Hey, anybody have any questions in regards to Jody's report, please? Ken?
To the office, very quick. You can go ahead with correspondence without me. I know
All right.
about it.
Okay. All right, Tim, Mark, David, anything on Jody's report?
Nope, good report, Jody. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Item number 10, correspondence, Misaki County resolution regards the support of vaccine awareness. I can't remember what was in that letter. Anybody? I don't think they're looking at what we're doing, but that's beside the point. B is Alger County resolution in support of amendments to the OMA, Open Meetings Act. C is a NACO County newsletter, October 19th. D is Alger County resolution opposing privatization of mental health services. We've also done a resolution of that, I believe it was a month ago. E is Michigan Township's insights. F is MAC legislative update for October. Branch County resolution in support of amendments to the OMA. H is MAC legislative update again. That's a legislative. Oh, well, there's two of them there. Okay. Those must be weekly. Okay. NACO. I is NACO coronavirus resources for counties. J is Michigan Public Service Commission notice of hearing. K is MSU Extension online programming for November. L is MSU Extension 4-H family news for October. M is consumers energy notification of tree trimming in Roscommon County. And N is NACO County News November 2021. So any commissioners have any questions in regards to correspondence at this time? And just for knowledge, this thing is this agenda we got today with all the correspondence is 399 pages, if you can imagine.
And budget's on there.
And the budget's in there, so that's why it's 399. Okay, monthly department reports. We got the Central Michigan District Health Department meeting packet. Economic development for September is B. Animal control, animal control and animal shelter, September 2021. E911, October 2021. the jail report for 2021, and the broadband project from Cherry Capital for monthly department reports. And thank you, Tim, for that. I don't think you need to have you go through it, do we? Nope, good. So, but thank you. Any questions in regards to monthly department reports at this time from any commissioners? Okay. Item 12, any visitors that'd like to be recognized at this time, please? Anybody out there in Zoom land? There ain't that many people out there today, is there? Okay, item 13, unfinished and new business, American Rescue Plan Act funding. And Jody did touch on that, so we are actively seeking a contracted person to oversee this program. So Jody and I will keep working on that. And item E911 CAD project update. I'm interested to hear what Vance has to say on this. I know you guys had some meetings last week in regards to this, correct?
A couple weeks ago. Yep. Good morning. So just received the email from the vendor actually late yesterday. So long story short, we've been working with the vendor because the product didn't meet, they, in my opinion, failed to deliver. So that being said, we've been working with them back and forth, trying to figure out the best way to move forward. And we had contacted our attorney, and he's been communicating on our behalf. And the vendor's response yesterday is that we will move forward, let's see, with a project change order. So in a sense, we're going to continue forward with a lease, but we're going to change it from the CAD project to the equipment project on behalf of Central Dispatch. So that is more than satisfactory in my opinion. I don't know if that is something that has to go to the commissioners for approval or not. Doesn't look like it. Okay. But so long story short, what we're looking at is, if you recall back in 2016, I believe it was, we upgraded our radio console system. I was looking to upgrade that anyway in 2023. And this is going to line up very nicely with the timing of it all, and probably upgrade a little bit earlier than originally anticipated, but it'll be tidy. We'll avoid having to go to court. So
Our dispute has been resolved.
yes. Which is ultimately, that's the simple sentence right there.
Okay, good. That's good news.
Yes, very much. Yep.
Anybody have any questions for Vance since he's up here? Nope. Okay, good. Thank you. Any other unfinished or new business for any commissioner at this time? Nope. Everybody shaking their head or not shaking their head? Okay. Item 14, Amy, are you ready?
Not really.
You're ready. Okay, thank you. Motion number 1, please.
Move to institute employee health insurance premium contributions for the 2022 calendar fiscal year at 5% of the annual health insurance premium, pre-tax and based on health insurance carriers' definition of plan types. Employees under labor contracts are not currently subject to premium contracts based on existing labor contracts. Rates shall be as followed. Singles will pay $10.44 per pay premium amount. 2-person, $25.05. Family, $31.30.
3131.
$31.31, sorry.
All right. Okay. Do I have a?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Motion's made by Commissioner Melvin, seconded by Commissioner Milburn to institute the employee health insurance premium contributions for 2022. Any further discussion from any commissioner at this time? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Okay. Motion number 2, please.
Move to authorize allocations of $217,293 to Central Michigan District Health Department for the fiscal year 2022.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion was made by Commissioner Melvin, seconded by Commissioner Muckenthaler to authorize allocation of $217,293 to the Central Michigan District Health Department. Any further comments from any commissioner at this time? That's the same as last year. And it's paid in four different quarterly payments over the course of next year, so. All right, roll call.
Milburn,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Motion 3, please.
Move to authorize the appropriation of $50,000 to the airport fund for the fiscal year 2022.
So move, Mr. Chair.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner Snyder to authorize the appropriation of $50,000 to the airport fund for fiscal year 2022. Any further discussion from any commissioner?
I'd like to thank Jody for her leadership in that because that's a tough one. And again, Jody's kept us on track, so thank you so much.
Okay, anybody else? Hearing none, roll call.
Melvin,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Item 4, please.
Move to authorize the appropriation of $57,425 to Northern Lakes Community Mental Health Authority for fiscal year 2022.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Melvin, seconded by Commissioner Muckenthaler to authorize the appropriation of $57,425 to Northern Lakes Community Mental Health Authority for year 2022. Any further comment from any commissioner at this time? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin.
Yes.
Motion 5.
Move to authorize the appropriation of $120,000 to Friend of the Court for fiscal year 2022.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Muckenthaler, seconded by Commissioner Melvin to approve the appropriation to the Friend of the Court in the amount of $120,000 for fiscal year 2022. Any further comments from any commissioner at this time? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Milburn,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Motion 6.
Move to authorize the appropriation of $201,675 to the Indigent Defense Fund for fiscal year 2022.
Make that motion.
I'll second it. Any further comment from any commissioner at this time? Okay.
Melvin,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Move to authorize the appropriation of $113,140 to the Michigan State University Extension to provide the following services for the fiscal year 2022: agricultural, agribusiness, child and youth development, including 4-H, health and nutrition, community enrichment, food and environment, forestry, and gypsy moth oversight.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Motion was made by Commissioner Muckenthaler, seconded by Commissioner Snyder to authorize appropriation of $113,140 to the Michigan State University Extension Program. My comment on that is that covers a wide range, so I think we get a pretty good bang for our buck out of that. So, any other comments from any commissioners at this time? Roll call.
Melvin,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Motion 8, please.
Move to authorize the hiring of a part-time equalization secretary at 20 hours per week effective January 1st, 2022. Position is a grade 3 on the Roscommon County non-union employee wage scale with a range of $16.04 to $19.25.
Second. Motion is made by Commissioner Melvin, seconded by Commissioner Snyder to authorize the hiring of a part-time equalization secretary at 20 hours per week effective January 1st, 2022. Any further comment from any commissioner at this time? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Move to authorize a change in status for Emergency Management Director from part-time to full-time effective January 1st, 2022. Full-time status is contingent upon continued grant funding.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner Muckenthaler to change the status of the Emergency Managing Director from part-time to full-time effective January 1st, 2022. Full-time status is contingent upon continued grant funding. Further discussion, please, from any commissioner at this time. Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Milburn,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes. Motion 10.
Move to adopt 3% cost of living increase for all non-union employees, including elected and appointed officials. And then there's a chart, step chart that follows. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Melvin, seconded by Commissioner Milburn to approve a 3% cost of living increase for all non-union employees, including elected and appointed officials. Any further comment from any commissioner at this time? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Okay, before I get to 9 of 11, do you want that table read?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Amy, go ahead.
Move to adopt as recommended by the Wage and Compensation Committee, the non-union employee wage scale effective January 1st, 2022.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Muckenthaler. Motion made by Commissioner Muckenthaler, seconded by Commissioner Melvin to recommend the Wage and Compensation Committee the non-union employee wage scale effective January 1st, 2022. Any further comment? Hearing or seeing none, I just wanted to point out it does reflect the 3% increase. Okay. Roll call.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Okay. Motion 12, please.
Move to adopt resolution 2021-11-01, the 2011 Public Act 152, Publicly Funded Health Insurance Contribution Act Resolution for fiscal year 2022. Whereas the state of Michigan enacted Public Act 152 of 2011, the Publicly Funded Health Insurance Contribution Act, and gave immediate effect on September 27, 2011. And whereas PA 152 sets forth various options that public employers may follow when providing healthcare benefits to their eligible employees. And whereas the County Board of Commissioners recommends that Roscommon County again formally exercise its legal right to exempt itself from the act for calendar year 2022. And whereas Roscommon County has a long history of proactive budget practices that have resulted in budgets that are balanced and fiscally sound, as demonstrated by decades of actual performance. And whereas medical costs from 2011 through present time reveal on average the county has remained below the state designated cap levels, thus meeting the spirit of the legislation. And whereas the County of Roscommon has chosen to create an employee premium share program that is more suitable for the economic climate and culture of Roscommon County and its employees. Now, therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to authority granted a county under Section 8 of Public Act 152 of 2011, the Roscommon County Board of Commissioners hereby exempts Roscommon County from the requirements of PA 152 for calendar year 2022.
Okay.
That motion.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Melvin, seconded by Commissioner Muckenthaler to adopt the resolution 2021-11-01 for the 2011 Public Act 152 of the Publicly Funded Health Insurance Contribution Act resolution for the fiscal year 2022. Any comments in regards to from any commissioners at this time in regards to that motion? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Move to appoint the following individuals to the Roscommon County Solid Waste Planning Committee for a one-year term beginning November 27th, 2021 through November 26th, 2022. Rick Benken, American Waste, which would represent solid waste management industry. A Republic Service Representative for solid waste management industry. Billy's Dumpsters Representative for solid waste management industry. Waste Management Representative from solid waste management industry. Jack McCulley for Environmental Interest Group. Ernie Windolf for Environmental Interest Group. Commissioner Tim Muckenthaler, County Government. Ron Alden, Village of Roscommon for City Government. Ron Watson, Asabo Township for Township Government. EMCOG Representative for the Regional Solid Waste Planning Agency. Ron Siemens, Northern A1 for Industrial Waste Generator. Bill Tudor, a Roscommon resident for the general public. Scott Engstrom, Houghton Lake resident for the general public. And Judy Lambie, Houghton Lake resident for the general public.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Motion was made by Commissioner Muckenthaler, seconded by Commissioner Schneider to appoint the following individuals to the Roscommon County Solid Waste Planning Committee for a one-year term beginning November 27th through November 26th, 2022. Any further comments from any commissioner at this time? Hearing or seeing none, roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Motion 14, please.
Move to appoint Rebecca Reagan to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for a 3-year term beginning November 1st, 2021 through October 31st, 2024.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mark.
Motion is made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner
Sure.
Melvin.
Yeah.
Okay. Appoint Rebecca Reagan to the Brownfield Development Authority for a 3-year term. Any further discussion from any commissioner at this time? Roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Motion 15, please.
Move to appoint Ed Burgeon to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for a 3-year term beginning November 1st, 2021 through October 31st, 2024.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Any further discussion from any commissioners at this time? Just for clarification, Amy, if I could, it's Ed Bergeron.
Bergeron, I wasn't sure. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Seeing or hearing no objections, roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Muckenthaler.
Yes.
Okay, and the one we're looking for, number 16.
Move to adopt resolution 2021-11-02, resolution for application to the United States Environmental Protection Agency Community-Wide Brownfield Assessment Grant. Whereas the County Board of Commissioners of the County of Roscommon by resolution adopted on the 11th day of September 2019, the resolution of intent determined that it is in the best interest of the public to facilitate identification and treatment of environmentally distressed, functionally obsolete, and/or blighted areas to promote revitalization within the municipal limits of Roscommon County, and declared its intention to provide the operation of a brownfield redevelopment authority for the County of Roscommon. And whereas it is in the intent of the Roscommon County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority to pursue funding through the United States Environmental Protection Agency Community-Wide Brownfield Assessment Grant for potential funding up to $500,000 for sites in Roscommon County contaminated by hazardous substances and/or petroleum products. And whereas it is the intent of the Roscommon County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority to utilize funding over the 3-year grant period to inventory sites, identify past issues and known contamination, conduct redevelopment planning, and promote community involvement. And whereas the Roscommon County Board of Commissioners desires to support all projects intended to invigorate economic growth, promote the health and safety of the environment, and strength of the workplace. Now, therefore, be it resolved that 1, the Roscommon County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of Roscommon County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, desires to submit application for up to $500,000 grant funding from the United States Environmental Protection Agency Community-Wide Brownfield Assessment Grant. 2, the Roscommon County Board of Commissioners fully supports both the application for grant funding and intended project organization as submitted by the Roscommon County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. 3, that the following persons are identified as key project organizers: County Administrator Controller as Project Director, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners as additional contact for application, County Treasurer for support to Project Director, Financial Management of Grant Funds, and the EDC Director / Chair, Brownfield Authority for Community Liaisons.
I'll second. Motion made by Commissioner Milburn, seconded by Commissioner Snyder to adopt a resolution in regards to application to the United States Environmental Protection Agency Community-Wide Brownfield Assessment Grant. Any further comment from any commissioner at this time? This is going to be a good opportunity for our Brownfield Authority to go out and get a grant and be able to do something to an identified source. I don't care where it is in this county. We need to, it would be great to see it used. So I think it's a real plus. I would want to also thank Jody because she had ended up authoring this resolution because there was nothing online that you could find that we could copy and paste, right?
Right.
So thank you. Roll call.
Schneider,
Yes.
Melvin,
Yes.
Muckenthaler,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Okay, Amy, thank you. Could have done better myself. Did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Item 15, committee reports. David, you always kick it off. You want to do it again?
Sure. I attended the airport meeting, claims and accounts. That's it, Bob. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next.
Commissioner Muckenthaler, on I had a MCOG meeting on the 8th, was the Northern Michigan Regional Entity and claims and accounts.
Okay. I guess I might as well go to Commissioner Milburn going down the line.
Airport, Economic Development, District Health.
Okay. Commissioner Melvin.
Okay, last Friday I had attended the Michigan Works Board of Directors meeting. 93 jobs were filled in Roscommon County. Number?
Is that up?
Yes.
Oh, good.
We were the largest of the whole area, the most jobs.
Excellent.
Didn't break it down, but what sector that employment was in, just across the board. 72 customers visited the Roscommon Unemployment Office. And they sent out manufacturing day tool kits to the area schools. Roscommon had 3 schools participate. Toolkits include a flash drive. With links to videos about local manufacturers and their careers. It was reported the Roscommon County's unemployment rate was 6.6%, but that was going to be going up because the rules that we're going back to the old rules of receiving unemployment compensation. You didn't have to register for work during COVID. Now you have to. You have to be actively seeking work. So that's going to put people that were not included in the 6.6% back into the looking for work category. So hopefully that'll turn out good. Roscommon Veterans Affairs Committee meeting. We assisted veterans in 51 medical trips for healthcare appointments. We had assisted financially in the deaths of 3 veterans, no markers. And I'd like to report that we have established a women's veteran meeting on a monthly basis. This is for women veterans only, for a nice, safe environment. It'll be the 3rd Wednesday of every month at the AMVETS of Higgins Lake. And I did the agenda meeting on Thursday. That's it.
Question on your veterans report in regards to the transported 51.
Yes,
Were they all done through transit?
yes.
Okay, good. All right, that's all I want to know. All
Can
right.
you just clarification? Okay.
Oh, I don't have a time.
Okay, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I just wanted to.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry for that, I just figured I missed it.
Had the health department meeting along with Mr. Milburn on the 27th. Had a budget and finance meeting at 3 o'clock and a regular meeting at 4 o'clock. Did have had a distinct opportunity to meet with Krista Stacy at 10 o'clock in regards to what the steering committee had done and what transpired with the ARP money. So thank you for that opportunity, Krista. At economic development at 8 o'clock in Prudentville that morning also. Agenda we had last Thursday at 8:30. There was an EDC strategic planning that was held on Monday at Charlton Heston from 9 to 12. I was unable to attend because of a dentist appointment I didn't know I had, but there's another one this Friday at 9 o'clock till 12 o'clock, so I'll be attending that. So, and then yesterday I was down in Lansing, just for public knowledge. I was in Lansing with Charlton Heston, the superintendent Dave Patterson, and the finance and actual construction man David Foltz and myself were down in Lansing, and went to the Senate building, met with Senator Vanderwall, Senator Stamos's office, met with a bunch of reps. Did get to Representative Rendon's office and about 4 or 5 different reps that we stopped in there. So, and we were at the Capitol, we were at the Senate building, we were at the reps building. So we had a full day yesterday. So, okay. Any other questions from anybody in regards to committee reports? Okay. Item 16, public comment this time, please. Any other public comment at this time? Yep, Tim, come on up.
One of the big questions is funding availability that's out there. And so I thought I would let you know that we had a conference call with MIHI. That's the new Michigan High-Speed Internet Committee. They are going to change the name to something a little catchier. They focused on ARP money and the IIJA money being towards broadband. And one of the challenges ISPs are going to have is that they've moved what is broadband again. So it's now 4 times faster. So all the previous programs that funded 25 by 5 now are not protected. And the new standard is 100 by 20. So you're going to see a lot of moves towards trying to overbuild areas that are already built just to get federal money. So that means it may delay people who don't have. It'll take longer for them to actually get connected. It's one of the downsides of the
More competition for the money that's out there.
Right. But the good news is everything you've done under ARPA, what we've done under RDOF is all gig level. So we're 10 times greater than that standard already. So we're well positioned and protected. Even the NTIA grant, if that is issued, is at gig level. So it's protected. So good decisions that were made. And RDOF, there's still 12 billion out for that. And they just reopened up the Reconnect program, which I have to move quickly on. It's December timeframe. But we're trying to stay on top of all these funding opportunities that are coming through. We'll bring it to Jody's attention. And if need be, ask for maybe a committee in the future be put back together to help guide our efforts in Roscommon County for other areas.
Those additional grants also be looking for matching funds.
Yeah, the IRJA has a 25% match component to it. That's the infrastructure investment job acts that this just passed.
Well, if there was an additional project that would surface through RDOF, say for, I'm gonna say another same as the other one, 7.4 million, we'd be expected to put up quarter of that.
Yes.
And then that money could come out of our ARP money, right?
Could come out of that, yes. So
Which-
there's no restrictions on ARPA money as long as it's in broadband, what aspect of the broadband they choose for. So
Right, so,
somewhere else would be viable.
but the problem we're gonna have is we've already allocated those funds, so there's, unless they weren't used,
And you also have the state's effort to bring down ARPA money. I don't know the details on that yet, or when, that could replenish your funds for that development.
okay, so, all right,
These are all great items that we just have to keep on top of.
all right. Okay.
And I did send a recap of that to Jody that she could distribute, or if you want a hard copy, I brought some extras.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, any other public comment out there at this time, please? Oh, I guess you're next, since there's no public. I didn't see any public.
Just waiting.
Okay,
Just a reminder, tomorrow's county holiday. It's Veterans Day 2021. Just encourage anyone to, if you have the opportunity, participate in a Veterans Day celebration of some kind, or just take a moment and reflect on the service that's already been performed by the veterans of this country.
I already had that written down.
Very good.
You stole my thunder.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Anything else? But yes, thank you to all veterans for everything that they've done for us in the past.
If you
Jody,
didn't get my email yesterday, December 17th at noon is going to be the county Christmas party. I have no idea how.
no, I
it's
got
going
it,
to-
but I couldn't get into it for the date.
Oh, bummer. So it's the 17th at noon. We're not exactly sure how it's going to be spread or what we're going to do, but Noelle and I said, that's it. We're scheduling a Christmas party. So I'll let you know what your jobs are on that day. And there's going to be some more, long story short.
Okay, and I've also got on my calendar, that's also final for claims and accounts that day. You know that?
Yes.
Okay. Looking at December real quick, so just for a little review, since you brought it up, though, is that yeah, final claims. Our board meetings line up in December, so they'll be on the 8th and on the 22nd. So we got claims and accounts final due under our office by the 17th. We have our final budget adjustments for the 22nd. So, and then we'll be done with the budget year this year. So, and the county closes on 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th, correct? Got that right? And then same thing on New Year's, which is closed on the 31st, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So, anything else in regards to budgets, Jody? I think we're okay.
Not for right now. I'll have something next time, I'm sure.
I think we got everything taken care of, so. Oh, the 24th, the next meeting, we have to adopt the budget, which was presented today through the public hearing. So that's just a formal thing we have to do on 24th, which is going to be the day before Thanksgiving. So we'll be back here on the 24th. Anybody else have any other public comment? Any additions, deletions? All right, Mr. Milburn.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
I was looking up to Mr. Russo, but all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave. See ya.